And Bitcoin is in the middle of a crash. We're going to cut straight to the chase today. You can see massive red candles as I'm about to pull up this chart here. Is the bear market over? Is the bear market just beginning? Where are we at in this cycle? I'm going to break this down today, and I got Drew with me shortly. We're going to be talking about these charts. Now, Drew, something I want to highlight real quick. We are stuck in this parallel range. I'm about to move my camera a little bit. Stuck in this parallel range, and we've been in this range since January 28 right here. So for a few days, let's go ahead and measure this. This is going to be about a little bit over a week here, 8 days, 1 hour. And now we are leaving the bottom of this range. This could spell disaster for Bitcoin. It's been holding on to this area. So if we lose this, a lot of scary numbers that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Drew, how are you doing today? It is a very, very red day, but you luckily sold a lot of altcoins just recently, so you kind of got out before most of the pain. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of feel like I avoided a bullet once again somehow, and we are actively falling. We're about $67,200 right now. So honestly, I woke up my daughter this morning, and the first thing I said, "Good morning, my love. We're crashing on Bitcoin. What do you do?" And she's FOMO buying Bitcoin with her 100%. Every time she gets 100% on her test, I give her $10 in Bitcoin. She is FOMO buying. My mom's FOMO buying. I feel like I'm surrounded by very based women in my life, and I'm excited for cheaper Bitcoin.
All right. Well, I hope she gets straight A's, and I hope she makes you insolvent. I hope she makes you bankrupt. Let's look at the rest of the crypto market. Now, we got a lot of interesting numbers here. Bitcoin is now down double digits. It is down 10.7%. ETH is down 11%. XRP is down 16% in the last 24 hours. This candle is getting murdered. This coin is falling hard, folks. It's now down 45% for the 30 days. Dogecoin is down 10%. Cardano down 9.4%. I expected more. Hype is holding up a little bit better than a lot of the other coins here. It is still green for the month, but down 6.5%. We look for the big losers here. What are we going to see? Zcash down 18%. And it's surprising to see XRP, the largest loser out of the top 100 altcoins, Drew. Does this make you change your thoughts on XRP? Or is there a level where you're saying, all right, I am a buyer of XRP?
Oh, man. I mean, from a ethics standpoint about, my belief in Bitcoin and proof of work, I don't think that there is a level where I'd find, but if I'm looking at it from a TA perspective, below $1, around 70 cents. Remember, 70 cents was a point where XRP kept hitting its head against for a really long time. That likely is going to play into a buying interest floor from where we're at right now. So, later on in the show, I'll pull up kind of the points of control. I will look at XRP. Very interested in Solana, the point of control on Solana, Ethereum, kind of the major altcoins right now. But yeah, I'm not really very interested in XRP. Like, I bought a bag for 17 cents. I cheated it for 70. Then they went on to do their thing. It is what it is. I love the people that are trying to change their life with XRP, but I just want to put an air of caution, right? As we see the larger markets unwind, the defense point of XRP at $1.70 did not hold, and now you're cascading down the cavern. There's not a lot of liquidity. There's not a lot of stopping points on price collapsing from where XRP is at right now.
All right. Now we do got some breaking trades opening here. This is 1024. All these from the past. This is just happening. So let's just kind of break down what we're seeing here. A lot of people are asking, did the quant go short or long? Are you getting wrecked? No, we went short. We were short in the Discord. Had a really good Bitcoin cash short play out very well here. You can see all the shorts that it was calling for. Open these shorts. This is 6:24 a.m. 7:17. The profits started to roll in. All take profit targets hit. Take profit one hit. Take profit one hit. All take profits hit. Take profit one hit. Break even after take profit 2. You can just see the profits are rolling in. Now, I did miss some of those 4 a.m. trades, but we did get our beak wet a little bit this morning here. Now, I do want to look at some larger time frames for Bitcoin. Bitcoin lost all these moving averages. What are we looking at? We are looking at monthly moving averages. Let's go to the weekly here. Starts looking very scary. Look at that 200-week moving average. We are now below this range, and you can see right here, I have the different candles lit up. We're going to remove the 20. We're going to remove the 50. We're going to leave the 100 and the 200 week moving average here. You see, when we lose the 100, we go to the 200 this time more quickly than we've ever seen in Bitcoin's history. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth candle we broke below. You go back. Let me fix this y-axis. This one a little bit also pretty quickly here, but it would stick below this range. And if you see, it actually is kind of hidden. It was between the 50 and the 100 for a long, long time, longer than any other coins there. And if we look here, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks later, we fell below. This is a very, very sweet blow. I'm going to break down where I think Bitcoin is going to end up and how long is it going to take for this bear market. Because Drew, I got something pretty interesting that I want to share with the people here. I think this is going to be the shortest bear market in history. And I'm going to tell you why, Drew, and I'm going to back it up with math. If you look at from the peak until we broke below the 100-week moving average, we did this faster than Bitcoin has ever done it. Let's just go ahead and measure. This is 126. Bitcoin's at the top. Lost the 100-week moving average in 16 weeks. Okay, 16 weeks this cycle. Let's go back to 2021 cycle. 25 weeks. So let's go to the 2017 cycle. 48 weeks. 48 weeks. So 40s, 20s. Now we're at 16. And then we got this one right here. Going to be higher here. 43. So we have 43, 46, and then it starts shrinking. Now we're in 20 range. Now we're in the teens range. And so since we went from the cycle top to the 100-week moving average in record time, I think when a lot of people are looking at, well, cycle top to cycle bottom, it's always about a year. I think waiting a year for the bear market bottom is going to leave people sidelined. They're going to end up losing out on buying that cheap Bitcoin. And I think you need to position yourself for a bear market bottom sooner than we've ever seen in any cycle.
That's an interesting theory because the 4-year cycle time frame wise hit the nail on the head, right? Like the October pullback really followed through with what people were generally expecting. It'll be interesting to see if we actually get a bounce because this is the ball underwater very aggressively. The ball is very deep under the water right now. Usually those, pops back up to the upside, leave people a little bit flabbergasted. I'm going to put a poll in the chat here to ask you guys if we're going to actually have that general 1-year bear market. Is all of 2026 gonna suck? I'm going to put that poll out right now to see what the general crowd thinks because it's very split. I can see the split in crowd expectations, and someone's bringing up, I think it was Shake, that the RSI is being pushed down so low. I was looking at the RSI on Bitcoin this morning, even before.
What time frame are you looking at here, Drew?
I was looking at the daily and the weekly, right? And I mean, that is just insane. I don't think it's the last time we had been this low. Look at the last time we had been this low in the RSI, and it's been a while. Yeah,
it was right here. So it was basically on the run up for the, leaving the bear market into the bull market. That's a bullish environment, though. We might need to look, Drew, last time we seen this in a bearish environment. And if you look, I would say this is matching COVID crash of March 2020. And when we look for another bearish environment signal, this was essentially very, very close to the exact bottom. And so looking at the RSI, we're hitting this level right here. But Drew, this is actually, if you think about it, this is saying we could have a lot more pain because we are just now, remember, we're just now hitting the teal line on the daily RSI. Well, if we run it straight up, that meant there's still more pain to go.
Yeah, I mean, usually
another 50%.
Another 50%. Wow. Another 50%. So 30K. I don't think that we're going, that low below the cost to produce, man. I really don't.
Let's run it down 45%. Let's see. Let's just give ourselves a target before we say, doable or not doable. 45% drawdown from this level, which is kind of what we saw during the previous bear market. 45%. And I kind of came in a little bit higher on that candle. So we'll come in from the high end here. 45% drawdown. You're looking at a $40,000 Bitcoin.
Woo! Good Lord. Yeah, I mean, and I bought a pretty decent amount at like 73. I do have a nice bag of Tether still from, thankfully, the quant is really helping me in this situation with new Tether. But my price oracle says we're going to bounce soon and it's going to be a short-lived pullback. So I have faded her in terms of how much I sell when she says it is the top. I sell like half, you know what I mean? And I leave a little bit just in case we go to the moon math and we go up again. She's saying we're going to bounce pretty soon from here. So I called her yesterday. I was like, I'm never going to fade you again by any sort of percentage degree. She's feeling like it's time to load up. So I am a big buyer in this 49 to 74 range. I really don't think that we're going to lose that 49 mark. That's just what my heart tells me and what my quant tells me, my profit quant. And she hasn't done me wrong yet in multiple cycles. So, you know, that's kind of my situation.
All right, there you go. And yeah, let's just get back to the charts real quickly here. Yeah, you can see, looking at the RSI on the daily, we are at this teal line right here. It could get kind of ugly, folks. But after that, it might stay boring. It might stay boring for a while, but you might have a good amount of time to accumulate. Will we traipse along the bottom for 100 days? I don't know if Wall Street will allow us. I don't know if BlackRock can stop their customers from buying more of their IBIT ETF. Let's kind of talk about what are we seeing here. Bitcoin, this is just very humbling. We erased 15 minutes of a bull market gain with this drawdown below 70K, fell below 70 as suspicions over coordinated selling are starting to boil over. We tumbled below the 2021 highs for the first time since November 24. Market participants are saying that large entities are selling Bitcoin on a schedule, a DCA out. Bitcoin moved in step with that flash reversal also on precious metals. Gold saw a little bit of a relief bounce earlier to 5,100, would then fall to 4,700 before again targeting and bouncing back to 5K. Silver gyrated between $90 and $73. So silver, I mean, it's just out there gyrating in the markets. I don't know why they chose that adjective, but gyrating between 90 and 73 per ounce as volatility stayed in control. Earlier, traders gave various bottom targets of interest, these including 50K. Directly below 69K lies the 200-week EMA support trend line. Let's go back and just kind of refresh our memory here. Pull up the 200-week moving average. Pull up the EMA chart. It's going to be the, oh, man. We're basically there. We're basically there. And you can see here, so I'm going to pull it up just so you can see the color coding, everybody. We have the 200 in blue, the 100 in teal, the 200, 100 right there. We are now below this area. So just hours ago when this article was written, seemed like, all right, we got strong support. And then you can just see here, no, we are definitely dipping below. It's going to be right around 68,200. 68,200 is going to be right about here. So now we're flirting with very dangerous levels, everybody, after the 200-week moving average. We also have crypto entrepreneur Alastair Milne, voted most likely to be a villain from the 1800s. He agreed with observations from longtime trader Peter Brandt. Bitcoin, the latter argued, was the victim of campaign selling. Agree with his take. So enormous is up unloading to a deadline. I think I have the post right here. For me, it started January 14th, and a lot of people are pointing similarities to this range to what we saw when Germany sold their 50,000 Bitcoin. Now, the other side of the coin is it would need to show up in exchange, time zone, address. This would have to be tens of billions of Bitcoin. Who has that kind of volume to unload? So we'll keep an eye out on the wallet tracking sites. I haven't seen any major whale capitulate just yet, but it could just be a swath of Americans. It is the stupid Yankees that you can blame for the Bitcoin crash. CEO of Coin Bureau likewise flagged large selling by whales during U.S. hours. The Coinbase premium is the lowest it's been in a year. It's even lower than post-Liberation Day tariffs. He added selling pressure would continue until the premium changed course. Now, I have a little bit breaking down this Coinbase premium here. So the Coinbase premium, I'm going to explain what that means. Hit a low, hit a yearly low. This is saying large American institutions are selling. And so they call this the Coinbase premium gap. And it just looks at the difference between Bitcoin on Coinbase and Bitcoin on Binance. And now this gap is the lowest level it's been in over a year. So the move may point to a weaker relative demand. Coinbase leak venues, which are commonly associated with institutional trading. Coinbase, like we said, is going to be the difference between the two. And I just want to pull up the chart. Drew, look at this Coinbase premium. This is suggesting It is large American corporations, American whales, people that don't use Binance, that use Coinbase, and they're dumping their Bitcoin. So a lot of people are pointing the finger at Binance, but Binance's order book is suggesting complete otherwise, the complete opposite.
That is very
I'm just sick
interesting.
of the CZ FUD. So much of it is just a low IQ. And sure, does Binance very powerful? Do they manipulate coins? Sure, they probably do this, they probably do that. But are they secretly selling Bitcoin that no one can verify on chain and you don't see it leaving their Bitcoin balance? No, none of that is happening. And in fact, the stats are saying, no, it's Americans selling into Coinbase. It's the exact opposite of the narrative that we're seeing floating around.
Well, and what we have going on right now is a lot of basically extensions and kind of delays to the American regulation on crypto, right? Like we're seeing our political spectrum basically fall apart. Yesterday was like a screaming match in Congress.
Yeah, we got the clip. We're going to pull up the clip later on, the screaming match.
You know, it doesn't seem like we're going to come to some consensus or agreement on crypto regulation if we can't even agree with speaking like adults to the Treasury Secretary, right, from Congress. So I kind of doubt that this regulation deal is going to be set up in the short term. I think they've even now, are they delaying it to the middle of the year or something like that? Like this might be American.
I have Eleanor Terrett's latest take, and she breaks it down, and there's a little bit of optimism. I don't know if it's as doom and gloom as people are making it out there. We have Ami Garduno thinking about taking a personal loan out to buy Bitcoin at these low prices. What do you think? I think it depends on the APR. You know, it depends on how much interest you're paying. But I think if you're buying Bitcoin below the 200-week moving average, you're going to be fine in the long term. Now, you know, I don't know your personal situation, so maybe this loan is going to wreck you. Maybe your kid doesn't get a birthday. I don't know. You know, I'm kind of joking here, but let's just kind of go back. We'll look 200-week moving average. When we go back, I mean, you're buying here. It's like, all right, I took a loan out to buy Bitcoin at 26K, and then it kept going lower. You probably felt like a fool for more than a year. But then after that, things. So if you can remove your emotions and be prepared for it to go lower, I think it's a fine idea. If you're going to panic because it started to go, 20%, 25% below your costs, maybe stay away. But I will say this is a drastic move to the downside, and you typically see dead cat bounces. Where's the dead cat, Drew? Where's the dead cat?
I mean, the dead cat might be the cat you have to sacrifice.
Don't say Ohio. Okay. I didn't know.
I think that is a very scary idea to take a loan out for crypto, especially in this environment. Like macroeconomically, there is so much uncertainty. I have heard more things go wrong than right with retail taking loans to buy crypto. Now, in my opinion, we're at the lower spectrum of where price can be, but that's just my personal experience with people around me. I never have taken a loan out for crypto, and it served me well. I've just consistently DCA'd what I was comfortable putting into the market, and I treat crypto as a very high risk, high reward, aggressive savings account. And yes, most of my, if not all of my net worth is in crypto or real estate, but I just please be careful, right? Like use money that you can afford to lose.
Leverage everything, put it all on the line, triple mortgage your home. Now, you got 300 days from today to buy as much as you can. DCA and pray. If you missed the beginning analysis, maybe go rewind that. I detailed why we went from the top to the 100-week moving average in record time. Also, after the halving, we hit a new all-time high in record time. And so if you expect this bear market to last the regular amount of time, instead be the shortest and by a record time, maybe we disagree, but I think the bear market will be shorter. And there's a million data points you can point out there. How low are we going to go? Can it go down low? Can it go to sub 50K? 59? I mean, I don't know who's selling Bitcoin at 59K. Probably people who, maybe need to pay bills. You have Bhutan selling it. The miners will sell. Shoot, I'm asking the question. I'm answering it with too many answers. I guess a lot of people might sell at 59K.
Well, think about the NVIDIA, we haven't seen an actual bear market hit Wall Street, right? We've seen some data companies really pulling back
S&P 500 could fall 20%, and people are not ready for what that will do to Bitcoin. I will say 20%, 25% below the previous all-time high is what a lot of people are looking at. So think of 70K, it's the previous all-time high. 20% of that is going to be $14,000. If you subtract 14 from 70, you're going to have a $56,000 Bitcoin. And so, yeah, maybe we do see sub 50s. I think we could definitely see sub 50s. Now, I do want to highlight the S&P 500, kind of what you're saying there, Drew. No one is ready for what the S&P 500 could, do to the crypto market. There's like multiple trend lines just suggesting things are getting a little bit heated in this area. We're also seeing, maybe a little curvature on this. We're starting to see a nice red day today. Berkshire Hathaway, record amount of cash. Maybe the stock market just says, you know what? Woo! But
Potentially.
maybe we see a significant drawdown of about 20%. And so 20% drawdown for the stock market is not going to be good for Bitcoin's price. Let's just throw it up there. We'll throw it up. We're going to have to fix the y-axis here. We're going to pin to new right scale, if you're wondering how that works. And look at that. Stock market goes down, Bitcoin's going to go down.
Now we've kind of dislodged, and the stock market's continued up. Bitcoin, the scary part is that Bitcoin's acting as a canary in the coal mine of what's to come for the Wall Street sector, right? That is the sketchy part. And, I was talking about AI. I've had a lot of conversations about this AI hyperbole that's been going on right now. It is on my mind.
Now, just define that, because that could be meaning a lot of different things. By AI hyperbole, do you mean its impact on the economy, the impact on our lives, robot overlords, Terminator 2 scenario?
That's the impact on our lives is a whole nother conversation. It's like 10 or 15 years out. I think the impact on the economy is something I'm more looking at within the next 1 or 2 years, on where they did a really large amount of fundraising for these new AI ventures and a lot of paper value, right? And then they took loans on that paper value, went and did a venture capital raise on another AI, build up a project or company. And this is something that, I have a really long, boring write-up I could go into, but basically we are over leveraged to the gills with AI venture capital, right? That's where, and you brought up a great point this morning, DZ, where we're wondering where this altcoin venture capital interest went. I completely agree with you. It went to AI, and now we have mountains of paper companies, and there is a potential that we see.
All right, so if you're not sure exactly what Drew's talking about, he's kind of talking about, excuse my brass language for a second, it's a circle jerk of investments. You'll say, Oracle, they're doing data, and so they'll make a deal with this AI company, and this AI company will make a deal with this chip manufacturer. The chip manufacturer then makes another deal with Oracle, and it's like, all right, I commit 500 mil, and I commit 500 mil, and they commit 500 mil, and it's just everyone's passing 500 mil in a circle, and then they're like, look at all our metrics, look at all our revenue, look at all our stated promises of investment, and you kind of say, hey, wait a minute, it's just the same dollars floating around.
Right. Absolutely. And so, that being said, I think that AI is something that all governments want to get involved with, and I think it will have a tangible impact and really change the landscape of humanity over the next 10, 20 years. But we're at kind of like the front end of this hyperbole season in AI. And, altcoins caught a little bit of the pump of this in March of 24, December 24, but now, Oracle's price, one of the bigger customers of NVIDIA, is very bad. The AMD chart, very bad.
Intel looking good, but that's been communized. It is, it is an American investment now. It's, the government is being a buyer of the stock there. Yeah, right. Drew, this reminds me, you're probably a little too young. There was a don't do drugs commercial, and it was a white businessman in a room by himself, and he's like, I work, so I get money. So I buy drugs, and I buy the drugs, so then I go to work to buy more money. And it's just a circle. It's like OpenAI gives money to Microsoft, who gives money to NVIDIA, who gives money to OpenAI, who needs this for chips and needs this for compute and needs this for the actual AI outputs, and on and on and on and on it goes. Hit the like button if you remember the Kraken egg commercials, all those old school Dare commercials, man. Pretty effective stuff. Let's talk about some false narratives out there, Drew. Miners talking about, hey, this is what it costs to mine 1 Bitcoin. Seen a lot of noise out there. And I've said this for years. I've said this since I've been making content, you know, back 2020. No one knows for sure what it costs to mine one Bitcoin. No one knows for sure.
It moves.
Period.
Like the demographic is different for even within each state. The cost to produce a Bitcoin changes, right? So you can get like a general aggregate, but in some African countries, it is like 20 cents on the dollar to mine because their energy is super cheap.
Iran, it's even cheaper. Yeah,
Right.
There's government subsidized energy, so it's like, you know, the consumer might pay 10 cents a kilowatt hour, but maybe it's actually 20 cents a kilowatt hour, and the government's subsidizing half the cost. And so a lot of that just really calls into question the math there. But let's talk about the numbers. Miners are being squeezed. Bitcoin 70K price fails to cover the production costs. Is now saying it costs about 87K to mine one Bitcoin. Is going to be about 20% below the average production cost, and 20% below historically a feature of the bear market. In previous bear markets, Bitcoin traded below production costs before gradually converging back towards it and then ending the bull or the bear market. The average cost is 87K according to Check on Chain. It's very hard to find accurate numbers here, but there are some pretty interesting numbers I do want to throw your way. I might have to zoom. All right, so above and below this purple line is where maybe you need to pay attention. The black line is Bitcoin's price. The purple line is the average cost to mine it, according to checkonchain.com. I think they have a different number than X, Y, or Z. Everybody has a different number. Why? Because there's a lot of guesswork, folks. Let's just be honest here. Now, below it is 0.5. So just cutting in half what it costs to mine. Now, this is a log chart. That's why they kind of look similar. Above it is triple. And so that would be triple the cost of a Bitcoin. So if a Bitcoin costs 10K to mine, this line would say $30,000. What you will notice, the top of the bull markets, it hits about 3 times the cost to mine a Bitcoin and got nowhere near it this run. You could pull up the 2X line. It didn't even hit 2X this bull market. And so this is definitely suggesting a different type of market. And since we didn't go to double, we didn't go to triple, I'm making the proclamation and planting my flag. We will not go to 0.5. So I don't think this is going to ring true. You can see here in this bear market, we came down to the 0.5 level. You see here, we came down to the 0.5 level, and even here, the COVID crash 0.5 level. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen.
I like hearing that. I mean, and we are a much bigger market cap now than we were at both of those previous peaks, right? It's like diminished gains, diminished losses. It's kind of like a situation where we might see the chart kind of stabilize in a way. But then you are having, you know, some Bitcoin mining firms being enticed into providing compute power for AI infrastructure too, as all this is happening. So a lot of different things going on. I hope that you're right that the losses are diminished because of this moving average, because we didn't have that blow off top, that peak, that euphoria never hit.
Social interest never hit. Euphoria, parabola, none of those things hit, folks. None of those things hit. Now, in previous bear markets, Bitcoin did trade below before gradually, like we were saying, converging above it. Now, you see some other numbers. Saw this 58K. I don't know where they're getting this number from. We have someone else. They had a guess out there. They have a whole band. It's like, well, do we know the cost or not? Because you got a giant band here. So, you know, maybe it's just kind of giving themselves a little bit of leeway. And this really just points to the fact no one knows for sure what it costs to mine one Bitcoin. So just get that in your head. You see someone saying, this is the line in the sand. It's this to the dollar. You're like, okay, all right. You got a penny on your price. Like, you really think you know the electrical costs like that? Trust me, folks, you don't. All right, let's look here. Just kind of blame Trump. It is now time to blame Trump for the crash here. Some might say we're blaming Trump. Others are going to say we're blaming Democrats. And I'll ask the chat, maybe who are you going to point the finger at here? It might coincide with who you voted for. Surprise. Bitcoin has erased the entire gain it made since Trump won the election. Let's just say that again. Bitcoin is now at the same price since before Trump got elected. It pumped 78% after he became president and is now back to the same level of November 2024. These are going to be weekly candles, I believe. So Bitcoin not doing too well. Bitcoin has never dropped below its election day price. Election day price is $67,000. 800. I'm seeing different numbers. We don't trust, we verified. November 4th, 2024. November 4th. Ooh, man. Almost you need to look at the open because this was, remember, Drew? It took like we needed a day. November 5th, I guess, is the Tuesday here. November 5th. I'll go the lowest of the wick. We'll be real generous here. 67,433. We're going to throw down the horizontal line here.
We're literally like right there.
This is, I know, it's so scary. So scary here. And
oh my God.
Oh man. Never say never. That's what I say. Never say never. All right. Don't be a quitter. You think that crackhead, they wake up, no money in their pocket. They say, I guess I'm not smoking crack today. They find a way. They find a way, and Bitcoin will find a way too, folks. So if you think it can't go lower, Bitcoin will find a way. So yeah, no longer true. No longer true there. This is, before we blame Trump, let's blame Michael Saylor.
Okay.
No serious central bank will ever own something where Michael Saylor controls the float. I've been saying this for a while now. Michael Burry is now on this path. Michael Saylor, you got to stop buying Bitcoin. You're spooking serious investors, and no one wants to buy some asset where you have way too much of it.
Yeah, it's really concerning when you start seeing a singular entity holding over 3% of any asset, right? I mean, like that gives me the EBGBs. BlackRock coming in controlling this amount, the government coming in controlling this amount, Michael Saylor. Concentration can cause massive targets to be painted on those concentrated bags, right? So that is something there's a lot of chats going, Michael Saylor's getting wrecked right now. The chat is literally split half and half on if 2026 is going to be a bear market the whole way through or not right now. I'm running a poll.
I mean, I almost didn't wear a tie today. I couldn't afford it. But I was like, all right, I'll sell 32 link to equal the price of one tie.
I will say the memes in a bear market are top notch. Okay.
Yeah, better than the bull market memes. Absolutely. I got a couple memes. I'll share a couple memes, folks.
Yeah.
What do you think of this question, Drew? Luis Rincon, shout out to Rincon, Puerto Rico. You think Satoshi went to the island?
Oh, God. I mean, I don't even have a hard-sided opinion on who Satoshi is outside of someone that either worked at the NSA and then left and dissented against them, or someone that was literally currently in there,
or Adam
the
Back.
NSA.
Adam Back could have been the author of the white paper, and maybe they brainstormed the white paper with several people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I don't have any clear view on all the people that did go to that island. Still, that's another thing that
I put a short out on it. So go to the YouTube channel and watch our shorts. I did a whole short. I talk about the emails. There's some fake emails. I point out which ones are fake. It does look like he influenced Bitcoin to choose, in my opinion, the wrong direction with the block size wars. If you watch the Peter Todd documentary, Finding Satoshi, they also talk about powerful entities wanted to push Bitcoin away from being able to buy a cup of coffee. And I think if we had the ability to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, it'd be even more popular than it is today. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's talk about a little bullish takes out there. Then we're going to get into the Trump stuff shortly here, folks. This is from Oxmert. I think he's just Mert now.
Bald is beautiful. I actually had the thought to go bald because you and Mert. This morning I was thinking about going bald.
Yeah, if you don't know Mert, that was the guy that was all posted about Zcash. He's a Solana dev. I forget. Oh, Helios Labs. So that's very, very big guy in that space there. I've never been more optimistic about crypto's future. Let the tourists bleed out and leave. We need to improve signal noise ratio, and this will do that. Trillions. I like this. We definitely are going to improve the signal to noise ratio in the industry here. And then Balaji, I consider one of the smartest people out there making posts about crypto. He's the former CTO of Coinbase. He might have been the first CTO, chief technology officer there. This guy knows his stuff. He's leading the network state right now. I've never been more bullish on crypto because the rules-based order is collapsing and code-based order is rising. So short-term price does not matter. As international law breaks down, which is pretty evident with seizing of assets and, losing hegemony with the dollar. So as international laws break down, kidnapping Maduro, international laws break down, we will need not just on-chain currencies, but on-chain companies. As the post-war order breaks down, aka the rise of China, will similarly need post-internet order. States will fail. The network will take their place. We need internet capitalism. We need internet democracy. We need internet privacy. So we need cryptocurrency. That's just a good way of just assess where you're at. Does the world need Bitcoin? Yes. Do you need Bitcoin as an American? Not as much as someone fleeing a hostile regime, not as much as a political prisoner, not as much as people in probably the majority of countries out there. So you might live a little cushy nerf life, but Bitcoin does solve very serious problems out there.
The network state is such an interesting concept to think about right now. I think, was it Nepal?
Let's pause it real quick. It's I want to say it's Indonesia. You remember those big mega cities that were then abandoned, and they're kind of popular. A lot of them got abandoned around 2020, and you see like all these Asian skyscrapers, and then no one lives in the city. Yeah, the city's meant to hold 5 million, and it has like maybe 50,000. Right, build in one of those cities.
Yeah, and there's like within social disruption. I think it was Nepal or a country that had a major unrest moment. They elected their interim leader on Discord. Right. So like you're seeing alternative messaging and communication systems being used. And I got into crypto for communication reasons. And, I kind of stayed around because it changed my life monetarily just by accident. But as this trust among these nations continues to deteriorate, you're going to have to find ways of moving entire sections of society into what you just called a network state. I think it was Nepal. Yeah, OK is verifying it was Nepal.
Hey, don't sleep on Discord, all right? When Solana goes down, where the devs go, Drew?
They go to Discord, It's something to think about. So, and that's just a general theory is trust in nation states and fiat currency is going to continue to spiral to the downside. And also, maple syrup's a little bit expensive. Instead of Maduro, maybe our next move could be Vermont. Right. Bring those prices of oil down. Next, bring the price of maple syrup down. The trust among nations is gone. It's a crazy time to be alive. I'm here for it. And I'm having a lot of fun seeing prices come back down because I hate trying to cover giant green candle markets and chasing things that are at the top. The buying for good upside happens when prices are low. So I'm having a lot of fun.
You get rich in the bull market. You get wealthy in the bear market. Now, who's getting wealthy? Doesn't seem like it's Wall Street, but it's a lot of FUD out there. Extreme fear is spreading. Here's the solid facts. We're going to talk about the outflows. I just want to lead with this. The price for Bitcoin's down 44%, but the Bitcoin ETF holdings, they're only down 6.6%. The Wall Street Bitcoin ETF buyers, these guys are serious hodlers. So maybe think about that when we kind of throw some of these numbers out. But yesterday, it was an outflow. This is actual selling. We're not talking about just a drawdown in capital. Had $545 million in daily outflows. This is going to push the weekly flow into the negative. We had positives, but with the 545 to the downside, we're now 255 to the downside for the week. Year to date, 3.5 in inflows, but 5.4 in outflows. So it's a total outflow of 1.8 billion. And then when you look at the total number, 93.5. So we're talking about 2% of the assets have fled year to date. 2%, maybe, calm down with the Wall Street's paper handing rhetoric there when you see a large outflow. Bhutan, Drew, I saw this. I got excited. Hell yeah. Bhutan bought the dip. And then I read it. No, they sold.
Oh.
They offloaded Bitcoin, mined through their state-owned mining venture with sale coming to mud, crypto price declines, challenging mining conditions. The 22 million were sent to a market maker and transferring assets to market makers off of signals of sale as they help convert those assets into liquid market. So I'm like, hell yeah, Bhutan buying the dip. Oh no, they capitulated at the bottom like a paper hand. Bhutan, can you not cover your electricity for a week?
That's brutal. And I wonder if did they sell at a loss? I imagine they.
Well, they're mining it, and it's probably 10K a Bitcoin is what their cost is.
That's true. Okay. Well, you know what? They got.
I say raise taxes and buy more.
Oh God! Just crush the people. I hope we get to that clip that happened in Congress where they're grilling.
I got it coming up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the political news now. Drew's he's got the itch. He's itching to talk about this stuff here. Drew likes to get he likes to spread the truth, folks. U.S. House lawmakers, they've now launched a probe into World Liberty 5 following reports from the UAE linked entity acquiring $500 million stake. We covered this earlier in the week, but the Wall Street Journal, has some new developments. This is breaking from this morning here, straight from the Wall Street Journal. Let's look at the title. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? Oh man, it's giving me one of those, just work with me, not against me. Top Democrat launches probe. They're probing Trump over his spy chic deal with the Trump company here. So Trump's getting probed. There he is with his tail flapping like a cape. Top Democrat on the House committee overseeing the U.S.-China competition has launched an investigation into the $500 million investment by the Abu Dhabi Royal, the spy chic, and a Trump family cryptocurrency company, and is urging a U.S. prosecutor, U.S. attorney, to probe the deal as well. This is in a letter to Zach Witkoff, CEO of World Liberty Fi. Remember, this guy's father, also very important in the Trump administration. He was one of the special envoys sent to Iran. Now, Ro Khanna sent a list of 16 questions and requested documents related to the company's agreement with the Abu Dhabi Royal. Now, before we go, Ro Khanna does not have the power to subpoena. If you are the minority party, Democrats, then you're not able to compel someone. Now, only the majority party can. Now, these arrangements, talking about the World Liberty Fi deal, are not just a scandal, but may even represent a violation of multiple laws, and is even saying Trump violated the Constitution. Our ability to successfully outcompete Chinese Communist Party depends on the integrity of our policy-making process. This is a tell for his persuasion tactic. Now, World Liberty Fi spokesperson said the lawmakers are harassing a private American business to score political points. This is a baseless assault. So World Liberty Fi saying it's baseless. Ro Khanna saying, nah, I think there's corruption here. Now, last week, Wall Street Journal reported that lieutenants to the Abu Dhabi Royal in January secretly signed a deal to buy 49% of World Liberty Fi. The buyers would pay half up front, and they would steer $187 million towards Trump family entities, $31 million to entities affiliated with Steve Witkoff. This is Trump's incoming Middle East envoy and the father of CEO Zach Witkoff. The investment was backed by Sheikh Tahnoon Nahyan, the UAE National Security Advisor, sometimes called the Spy Sheikh. Tahnoon has been pushing the U.S. for access to high-end AI chips. 5 months after the deal, the administration committed to giving them $500K of some of the most advanced AI chips, a coup for the Emirates ruling family. Biden's had previously limited the export of those chips to the country because they thought it would find its way into the hands of China. Where Liberty Fi's spokesperson confirmed the deal, said neither Trump nor Witkoff was involved in it. He said the deal didn't grant either party access to government decision-making or influence over policy. And so part of the reason we might be dumping is the incoming attack on crypto and Trump. Elizabeth Warren, top Democrat on the Senate Banking Committee, called for Steve Witkoff, David Sachs, and Howard Lutnick to testify before Congress. Some are calling this corruption in plain sight. On Monday, Trump, he was asked directly, did you take the investment from the Abu Dhabi Royal? Well, I don't know about it, he replied. I know that crypto is a big thing and they like it. A lot of people like it. My sons are handling that. My family is handling it. I guess they get investments from different people, but I'm not. I have all I can handle right now. I'm a big crypto person. I'm the one who probably helped crypto more than anybody because I believe in it. And so that's the breakdown. So This is on the front page of the Wall Street Journal today. I think a lot of people see a strong attack vector for crypto.
Yeah.
And it might signal a little bit less support from the Republicans, depending on the public's opinion on this particular matter. The real question is, Nancy buying the dip? Paul Pelosi, now would be the time he's buying MicroStrategy.
Probably. Yeah, I'm looking at MicroStrategy's chart right now. It is very low.
It's ass. It's
yes,
bad.
It is very, very low. MicroStrategy's trading at 111 right now. Absolutely crazy to see this pullback. The midterms, like, I don't want to see it, but I just feel it in my heart that the MAGA movement doesn't have enough momentum to lock up the midterms. That's just how I feel. I saw it. Like, I live in Northwest Georgia, and it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, or was, and there was just no showing for the MAGA movement. Like, that whole wind sail is gone. So the Democrats are likely going to have more teeth to their bite after these midterms come up. Unfortunately, like, I don't want that to be the case, but I'm just kind of calling a spade a spade. You know,
make a bet on Polymarket.
Maybe I should. Absolutely. because I can just feel it in the air. Like, it's just there. Everyone has a bunch of different reasons to be aggravated with Trump. I try to keep my emotions out of the situation, but man, I mean, he's got a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. What he said that I don't know. I didn't look at it. There's probably some degree of truth to that because he's got everything going on with immigration and blah 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 blah. All the words that will get us demonetized. That's all on his plate as well. But yeah, just this year.
Yeah, he can feel it in the air tonight. It's like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
No, it's not another day in paradise. Think twice. All right, I'm sorry. I love some Phil Collins. All right. I even like Genesis. Why? Because I like the Genesis block of Bitcoin, idiot. All right, let's talk about this clip right here. This is the clip Drew was talking about. I'm going to pull up the sound in a second. We should be able to hear it. This is heated moment when Senator Sherman asked Scott Bessent if the Treasury will use taxpayer dollars to buy Bitcoin and crypto.
Mr. Secretary, we lived through the bailouts of 2008 when powerful men lose money. They now want a government bailout. Does the Treasury Department or the various components of the FMOC have the authority to bail out Bitcoin?
Can they bail out Bitcoin?
Could you please elaborate? What exactly does bail out Bitcoin
Okay,
mean,
could you
Congressman? That's a
instruct the
very-
banks of this country to buy Bitcoin or change banking regulations so that they are encouraged to do so in terms of the reserves that they're otherwise required to have?
Again, that within the context of asset diversification
I think that's Brian behind him.
within banks, they could hold many assets.
They can, and there are different, but do you have the authority to order banks to buy Bitcoin or to invest U.S. tax dollars in Bitcoin or Trump coin?
I am Secretary of the Treasury. I do not have the authority to do that. And as chair of FSOC, I do not have that authority.
So we're not going to see our tax dollars invested in crypto assets.
Well, why would a private bank be your tax dollars, Congressman?
Excuse me, I'm now asking about
Sorry, bro. Scott Bessent's got 20 IQ points on you
the
here.
money of our taxpayers, which you manage as Secretary of the Treasury. Is it going to be deployed into crypto assets?
We are retaining seized Bitcoin.
That's not exactly taxpayer money. You collect a lot of taxes this month.
No, that is an asset of the U.S.
It's an asset of the
It is an
U.S.
asset of
And now he's about to break down how well this asset did at this end of the clip.
the
It
U.S.
was.
government.
And
And
are you going to invest
And,
any?
and I will point out, that
Mr. Secretary,
the-
reclaiming my time, are you going to invest?
the asset seizure, that 1 billion of Bitcoin was seized, 500 million was retained, and that 500 million has become over 15 billion.
Gentlemen,
That 500 million that we obtained has now turned into billions. Okay, 15 billion.
That's jogged my memory. Where's the gold audit? Like we should have a lot of money as well with gold from how well gold's done.
Well, that's empty.
Yeah, it's like they're not giving us a gold audit while we're going to like extreme all-time highs on gold while we have major monetary problems. It's something kind of crazy to think about.
Do you think there's gold in Fort Knox, Drew?
No, I don't. No, I mean, if there was, then they would have this hill to dance on and be like, look how much value we have in gold because we've been sitting on it in Fort Knox for so long. We've been seizing it. It's all great, guys. That really sketches me out that we never got the Fort Knox audit. You know, that's something that's been on my mind for a while.
Do you
It's
know
like,
Fort Knox was in the files?
oh my. No, please tell me what is are we going to get demonetized if we go over this?
No, I was just saying that's all I said. I
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't express my opinion on the accuracy
Okay,
or whether or
okay.
not it's verified.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's in my mind. And also, you know, the framework of this Bitcoin strategic reserve is very much so similar to like the early 1930s, right before the US government went and, you know, asked for everyone's gold with weapons in their hand, right? So this is a situation where I feel like I'm on the right path with Bitcoin and it's being set up as a national security interest for a good reason over the long term, I feel like. But it's very muddy, all right? It's very muddy. This is why cold custody is very important, especially in this environment that we're in for me.
Drew, where is the gold then?
Well, potentially it's simply at the the leaders of the central banks estates.
I was going to
in
say gold
England.
bar Bob Menendez. He had some gold
got a
bars in his
chunk.
suit. He had
Yeah, he got a
jacket
chunk of
pockets
it.
filled with gold.
Yeah.
City of London is something that's worth exploring if you want to go down that thread. It's a 1 mile square parcel of land that's in London that's autonomous from the British government. And so check that out. And they're probably like, that's probably what some of you folks are alluding to. Now let's talk about the Clarity Act. This is maybe some positive signs. This is from Eleanor Terra. Some color on today's meeting. A Democratic staff source said discussions were positive. The gathering, arguably the most productive Democratic meeting to date. Senator Chuck Schumer of the raw meat with cheese on top of it fame, he made an appearance. He didn't have food poisoning. He emphasized the importance of industry engagement and encouraged continued momentum to get it done. While there's still definitive asks, the takeaway is that there is effort, thought to be on life support, but there's an interesting theory on why all of a sudden, this is maybe coincidental, the super PAC, Fair Shakes War Chest is maybe scaring crypto legislators into being pro-crypto. Senate Dems wrapped a closed-door meeting on the crypto market structure bill. Schumer was there and is very desperate to get the bill over the finish line. Given, and they just announced this, I think, the day before, Crypto PAC Fair Shake's announcement of a $193 million midterms war chest, a Senate source told them. So, Drew, they could just be maybe worried about some midterms, maybe worried about, getting unseated in a primary, or just having the opponent heavily funded because they're pro-crypto and the original politician's not.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they see the writing on the wall too. And, these super PACs, they've always kind of been in the dark rooms controlling where American monetary movements are able to go. The banks are still in control. As we saw, like the banks still have a seat. The bought and paid for politicians still are sticking their neck out, trying to stop Bitcoin, crypto from becoming mainstream and outpacing the yield you get in banks, causing capital flights. Capital flight is the government's worst enemy. And if they allow the guardrails of crypto to be opened up in aggregate and just open the back door, they're going to see outflows. And that is what they are. A government is here to make sure that you stay in your seat and that you're staying within the confines of where they want you to be, monetarily speaking. Bitcoin and DeFi are opening that door. They're trying to weld it shut right now. So that's concerning to me that this is all going on at the same time.
All right, let's check in on that Bitcoin chart. This is that previous line that we were drawing out from ages ago. You can see this is going to be that 50-week move, or sorry, the 200-week moving average. And if you look on the 5-minute chart, people are definitely, it's a lot of interesting price action around this level. That's all we're going to say heading into that. Good news for Polymarket. Good news for Kalshi. CFTC pulled a Biden-era proposal to ban sports and political prediction markets there. Of course, there's a lot of criticism. They wanted to ban political prediction markets specifically because they called the election better than the polls did. And some say maybe if you're manipulating polls to sway public opinion or sway elections, you don't want political prediction markets. Kind of throws your whole strategy into the wastebasket there. But good news for those companies. So just give a little highlight there. Let's talk about some bullish news as well. Bitcoin OG Garrett Jin is now started buying back Ethereum. He withdrew $167 million worth of ETH from Binance. So we're starting to see some big on-chain moves worth watching. We also have Jack Yi. He has a $1 billion ETH long, and he is now down $500 million, and he's already sold $367 million worth of ETH. If it hits 1,800, his entire position is going to be liquidated. Let's go to the ETH chart. I pulled this up hours ago, and I didn't look at the ETH price.
Oh my Lord!
So he avoided it. I mean, his hole is puckered. It is puckered. You can't you can't slip a greased dime in that thing.
Right. I mean, it's he must have like $50 billion if he's willing to put $1 billion on a leverage position. Like
some people just like to gamble, Drew.
Yeah, with $1 billion, like there's something that I just, even if I am a billionaire, I'm only going to risk like $1 million on a leverage play. Like I never can conceive putting even anything over like 10% in a leverage position at all. Like, and I've traded for years. Trading was how I had a lot of fun in 2025, and I still never got to that point where like, all right, I'm putting all the chips on the table. I view trading as just a consistent way to have leveraged, tooled exposure to the upside and the downside, and get a more robust tether bag out of any move with a 1 to 2% of my portfolio. Never over 10%. Never with, I mean, I just can't even imagine putting $1 billion in a leverage play. I literally can't. So
All right. Well, I can if it's Cardano. BNB replaced Cardano in the Grayscale 5 ETF. We have it right here. Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, XRP, Solana. Solana's weight went down. XRP's weight went down very slightly. BNB wasn't on there, so now it is 5%. And ETH is now 13%, and Bitcoin is 74%. So bad news for ADA. Let's go to the ADA charts. This is the prior bear market. This is 2023, so we came down 22. We found a bottom December, January 22. We'd come and retest that on this wick right here, and then we'd come and retest it right here in this range. So let's use this 2023 bear market level to kind of look at where we're at today. And that's going to take us to, look at that, Drew. We're very, very close to historical support for Cardano. I did deploy some capital below 30 cents. I would definitely deploy more capital at 25 cents. And then I don't know if I buy more at 24, close enough at 25. But Cardano looking very, very close to his DCA target for me. Like I said, we did add a little bit. If you do hold Cardano and you have it on a self-custody wallet, stake at DZ Pool, DEEZY, everybody. If you still hold it. But looking at this, Cardano's also in this, I want to say it's also in a falling parallel wedge. This is the 4-hour chart. So we're going to pull this up and just see where is it at now. I said wedge channel. Uh-oh.
yeah, I feel so much danger looking at this chart right now. Can we fib out this entire cycle, DZ, just to see? I'm just out of curiosity, because it was part of the pump Trump.
Well, it's at the previous low, so it'll just come back to the zero, basically.
Right. This is kind of, I'm concerned. My heart has concern. I have concern for a lot of altcoins. So, I will say that. But the last time I had this level of concern, it was Cardano was at like 25 or 26 cents, and TJ came down to the basement. He's like, oh no, I think it'll still have a decent run. And for that day on, like right after that, the Trump pump happened. But some of that enthusiasm is out of the market. Some of that hope is out of the market. So
well,
I don't know,
Solana looks a little bit better. It is coming up to support versus losing support. So the bottom of this parallel range is going to be a support. It's going to be $60. But we also have support at this teal line right here. And this was just important previous cycles. So maybe this is 3-day charts. You see a lot of confluence around the 4-hour and on the daily. You see there's just strong support right here. So coming up to 2 strong levels of support, I would say if I had to choose one level of support to hang my bald cap on, probably go with this teal line versus the downward slope there. I think we can maybe hold support at the $77 range. If not, though, look at the range that we're in. We established this August of 2025. So we've been in this range for a very long time. That's what I'm looking at now. So we got Cardano, we got Solana. That leaves XRP, everybody. XRP traders are now more optimistic as Bitcoin ETH mood turning sour. It was a sour coin the day that it met me. So let's just look here. There was something I did want to share. Oh, yeah. So Bitcoin and ETH fallen 5%. But XRP has fallen even further. But now they're saying it is oversold and a relief rally is going to be in sight here. Let's pull up this chart. Let's pull up XRP. Let's see what we see here. What are the charts telling us? Oh, God, we lost it again. Yeah, we lost it today. I pulled this. I don't know when I charted this. It was days ago. I mean, it at least listened to my level, and at least there were a couple longs. But, it's like, all right, we lose this. We're going to pay attention to this. Which, again, it listened to for a while until it didn't, folks, until it didn't. So now it's like, all right, what's the next level? Give me some hopium.
It's a volume cavern. Like, it's literally falling into a volume cavern. Like, the main spot is 70 cents.
Yeah, we lost the 200 week. I mean, now we're looking at monthly. I mean, that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be looking
No.
at monthly moving averages.
No.
Yeah,
you
we lost.
don't.
So XRP lost the 200 week. Let's see what happened last time it lost the 200 week. It would continue to fall another 45%, another 50% almost.
Yeah.
So XRP fell 50% last time it lost the 200 week. Let's just run it. Let's run it up, Turbo. Yeah, you're looking at a 70 cent, 69 cent for the memes, 69 cent XRP.
Yeah. Just be like, guys, next time I buy a truck, please be careful. That's all I got to say. Like, it's just, I felt like such a fool a couple weeks ago doing it, but I'm in love with Toyota so much. Here we are. I don't have an interest in re-entering XRP for my own personal reasons, but I know a lot of people will. It's going to be interesting at the dollar level and then 70 cents, but you are cascading down through where there was very little liquidity. It basically just mooned from 70 cents up into the multi-dollar region because of Trump's tweets. Now that air is out of the room. You're seeing a market reset. If you believe in it, sure, have at it. But, that's just me.
All right, I do want to jump back to the Bitcoin chart here. Then I think Drew has some altcoins he wants to look at. Bitcoin showing some signs of a temporary relief. You can see very strong hidden divs on the RSI for the 5-minute, but you also see some more bold divs with the 20 and some of these other time frames here. 12, you can see, I would argue we have a hidden div here nominally. You can see RSI, less of a slope, but still the slope. But when you start going into higher time frames, you start see a little bit more bullishness. Got to get up to the 24-minute where you really see the RSI going flat as the price heads lower. You see it on the 30-minute. RSI is flat as the price headed lower. But then I didn't see it on the 1 hour. Yeah, so it isn't printing on the 1 hour. So it could be very, very short-term relief bounce. But I will say Bitcoin is bouncing strong from this 200-week moving average. So the bulls are at least wanting to support the 200-week moving average, folks. So there is a current line in the sand that is being fought over violently. Right now, the bulls are trying to maintain control here, Drew.
Yeah. And really, like, in this scenario, when you were talking a lot about the price to produce, and there is like a generalized range.
Yeah.
It's on aggregate, it's ranging from like 69 up to 86, depending on location. And as you said very wisely, that it fluctuates heavily. I am just a general buyer when we get near that price to produce, anywhere close to it. And for my leverage plays, like someone asked me in the Discord, am I ready to start long? Like, I'll take the quants plays and I'll really start moving in with a lot more size on the leverage plays. If I can see a higher low developed out of this current situation, this is, the first day that we've been able to see, 67K. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself in, being euphoric and, we're going to have a V-shaped recovery from this. I fell victim to thinking we were going up only and Max Payne was up only when we were in that 75K pump and all the altcoins were doing way better than they are right now. I thought I was going to be able to get some $500,000 car out of the deal. That's not the case, right? That is not the case. And so I, decided to just get what I could. And now I'm excited to have lower entry points. I'm excited that the people around me and I'm not just looking at crypto, right? I'm looking at the minerals industry, raw materials industry, nuclear energy industries, like diversifying and making sure I have some access in that, because I with all of this FUD noted, I still don't think America is going to go quietly into the night when it comes to the economy. I really, really don't. I think we're going to print like crazy over the next 10 years. I think the technology expansion is going to be ridiculous. And I think Bitcoin is going to be in that realm and respected all the way through it. It's just, we're in a time of turbulence and I take advantage of it when we're here, it's just what I've learned to do.
All right. Now, I don't know if you did have any charts, Drew. I did want to share, why we're seeing the stock market fall. S&P 500 and the DJIA dropped about 1%. NASDAQ also fell even more steeply, suffering losses after its worst 2-day pullback since the April turmoil. This is why government data showing unexpectedly low job openings in December and high new claims for unemployment insurance. And so the job market largely bringing down the stock market today, folks, in case you were wondering. Now, Drew, I don't know if you had want to pull this up or not?
Absolutely. I got a bunch of charts actually to run through. And if you have a chart that you want me to look at, just drop it in the chat, right? If you guys drop, a project in the chat that you're concerned about, or if you want to see main levels on that particular asset, just drop it in the chat and I can kind of go through that and pick out the most common ones. But there's a lot of things that we need to analyze on Solana first and foremost. XRP, I'm going to look at Tau. I will look at Morpho as well, but I've already covered Morpho a lot. So, if you want to check that out, look at the last stream.
Don't talk about it. Let's be about it. What do you got?
All right, let's do it. Let's hop into it. First one is Solana. And now the main thing that I'm looking at here is Solana's 786 level. And this is sitting at about $71. In my opinion, I am out of Solana since we were in this 130 range. And I just felt too iffy about the market. But that being said, now we've cascaded down. I don't think that we'll hit the 1 level down here at the $8 Solana again. But what I'm looking for is a little bit below this 786, maybe down to that 58 to 70 region. I am looking in this range for the spot where Solana falls down to and begins to reclaim its support and get ready for moves to the upside. This is a pretty important project in terms of crypto. I don't think Solana is going to zero. I think it's very, very integrated. It's got a lot of DeFi action going for it, a lot of AI agent action going for it. The TVL generally looking strong. So with that all being said, targets for me on Solana are basically ranging from the $60 to $70 position to re-enter into large bags of Solana. I got out of the way. I felt the death wobble on altcoins. I wanted my profits. I took them. Now we're seeing a nice price reset. So that is what I'm seeing on Solana. I think it's going to be around for a while. It's one of the bigger projects that I can have long-term conviction on, but it is an altcoin and altcoins are being bludgeoned right now. So then we go over to XRP. And if I look at this just from a very, objective point of view, from the lows that we were at about 40 cents, then we had the ISO pump, and XRP, the cult, has defended with their lives the $1.70 mark. They have lost that now, and now we're cascading down to the 786 on this as well. So, if the cult can keep it together, then you're seeing a bounce at about $1.11. Now, this is questionable to me if there's still going to be enough air in the room for the retail and the kind of boomers to be interested in XRP. I know that there's constant news updates about XRP absorbing some bank or the other bank or whatever might be going on in even a bear market. I've seen this over a few cycles. XRP bullish news does not stop in a bear market. So it keeps coming out. $1 is going to be a battlefield. I think $1 is going to be a battlefield. Even if Bitcoin finds its bounce from here, more air is going to be sucked out of altcoins as unsurety, fear takes hold of the markets. This is the level. $1.10 is your next turbulent zone, right? We are falling through a volume node. And just on Bitcoin, in terms of volume nodes are going to matter a lot when you're looking around for like what the main defense points can be, in my opinion. Now, it doesn't come out huge on the screen, but you can see, I want to highlight the point of control of this range. This is the main range that I'm watching here, the range of $74,000 down to 49. It was built up between March of 2024, and then we were able to break out of it October of 2024. This range is where a lot of these ETF buyers are sitting at. I don't think ETF buyers on Bitcoin care about the 4-year cycle as much as us crypto natives do. And this point of control sits at $61,000 to $63,000. If you're just looking at this range, we are in the guts of this. I am now a buyer now that we've come down to this range. I haven't been buying Bitcoin with size this entire run up. That is not my buying, huge bags of Bitcoin zone. Where my buying zone is the point of control of the main spot of Bitcoin price action. And I do want to actually go back to TradingView to look at this. So this is What I've left mapped out is Standard Chartered's price expectations over the next 2 years. Standard Chartered thinks that a washout down to this range, basically the $65,000 to $70,000 was expected, and that has happened. They put this analysis out when we were up at $90,000. Then what was expected from these banking institutions is a run up to new highs within the year of 2026. Okay, so yes, it's scary. People are freaking out. They're running to the exits, but banks see a recovery happening from this ETF point of control. And they're targeting around $150,000 within the year of 2026, notably November, October timeframe.
Love it.
Then another washout. And if you're backed up on this thing, this in 5 years from now will be viewed as a super cycle. If we're honest with ourselves on just the general design of this chart, washouts to the downside and just a basic staircase type movement as the asset grows in adoption is something that I do think will be what Bitcoin's chart ends up looking like. And they're actually targeting a $200,000 Bitcoin by 2027. This is going to throw the 4-year cycle maximalists that are dancing on their heels with the perfect timing of the pullback in October 25. Now everyone is resubscribing and being very hardcore about the 4-year cycle. And their metrics are going to be screwed up if what Standard Chartered thinks is going to happen does play out. Everyone other than the banks is going to be like, what in the hell just happened? But
Right.
I'm leaving this design out here. So I want to check out the chat. We had a good one.
Yeah, let me throw in. I've been following the chat here. There's a couple I want to share here. Link is being thrown out there a lot. I got a really good chart for Link. Someone else was saying, what are the altcoins that should do well? What do we have? Which coin has the highest increment chance during a future bullish time? So I kind of want to answer that as well. Link is the answer. I'll tell you why. What if the companies that bought Bitcoin for their treasuries are forced to sell by their financial department? As Michael Burry said, what happens then? Everyone made fun of him when he shorted the AI. Here's my thoughts on that. They stacked the C-suite, meaning the executives, with like-minded individuals. Michael Saylor isn't the CEO of strategy, but he made sure that the CEO is going to follow his ideals. Bitmine, Tom Lee would never hire a CFO that, he probably is like, if it eats at 500, do we sell? And, he's like tied to a chair. No. All right, you got the job. So I just don't see finance departments riding with pitchforks and torches, marching Charlottesville, marching to the CEO. I don't see that scenario playing out, folks. So that's my take there. Let's get back to this Link chart.
Okay.
Looking at the bear market. This 20, so we had a nice little mini pump there. Then we came down into this range here in 2019. And what do you know? March 20, we also hit it. And then if you look, bear market of 2023, we came right here. So the question is, where's this line compared to 2026 Link price action? Are you sitting down? Are you sitting the F down?
I'm scared.
We could go lower. We could go lower, but I might set a target unloading a lot of dry powder at $8. Like I might sell a Tesla stock or 10 or Microsoft stock, Google. Like this where might be where I start shifting assets around and say, all right, $8 Chainlink. Because DCA now probably great strategy, but like actually changing a portion of your portfolio, that to me is going to be around this $8. And let's just say bear market goes longer than people think. I mean, this is really strong support too. Guess what? I'll buy more at $5. So that's my Chainlink analysis for you there, folks. I don't know if that's the next coin you want to just jump into.
Well, the Chainlink chart I think is really important to look at. When I backed up the truck on Chainlink, it was really based on Bitcoin's weekly on the market cipher indicator. So instead of my RSIs, I'm actually going to pull up market cipher because I know the last time I looked at market cipher on the weekly, things were looking grim. But Chainlink in that $5 to $8 kind of channel has got a lot of hardcore support. And Chainlink is actually known to range much longer than most, if not all, altcoins.
Well, look at that. Last time the RSI hit this low, it was because of this wick right there. And except for this 4-day period of purgatory, Chainlink would, this is 3 days, so 12-day. Except for this week and a half of blisters in your rim. Chainlink wouldn't go that low again. So, RSI going this low is what the RSI looks like today, right here. Might be pretty close to a local bottom, and doesn't look like RSI ever really got close to that again. It's only those 2 times. The other time we also kind of got close, March 2020, that was a bottom. You could say these 2 levels right here, that was a bottom, and these are 3-day charts that ended up leading to a lower crash, but you could definitely make argument that was the bottom right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see some of the chat here. Some folks bringing up SWE. Go through this a little bit. World Liberty. God, World Liberty actually might be experiencing heavier outflows.
I don't know. I feel like people are going to short it too much. It's going to be difficult,
Let's look
right?
at it. Let's pull it up. Let's look at it.
What do we got for World Liberty Fi 3? It's at support, but I'm not bidding. I'm not shorting. I'm not bidding. This is just going to be. It's up to the exchanges and the market makers which direction this goes.
Mm-hmm. SWE is on my mind too because it was noted as like the next big Solana, right? SWE was talked about as the next Solana, and I think SWE is something that we should pay attention to. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Actually give a refresh on this so the chart's fresh here. But not Solana, SWE. SWE is like, it was developed by the people that were behind the Facebook Libra token, so they know what they're doing technology-wise. They're plugged in right. But the moment that we lost this trend line, I mean, it has been just down only for weeks and weeks and weeks. Slight recovery here at
draw
like
a trend line
$1.30.
from the bottom, from the 2 bottoms.
Yeah,
on the left
let's see what
side.
that looks like. That looks like.
Does that connect?
Yeah. I mean, the liquidation on 1010 brought you lower, but it is essentially hitting this generalized trend line right now. The weekly market cipher looks just the same as Bitcoin, though. Actually, a little bit worse, where the money flow has been going into the red for, I mean, since November of 2025, and a fresh red dot. So, I mean, there's a lot of headwinds here. This is SWE's first cycle bear market getting involved with, too. So when I'm looking at fresh altcoins that have been, released in this current, past 3 years, they are more at risk than the others of exploring new lows, should I say, right? SWE, though, let's actually look at the fib on this as well. It's so insane to see these things. I'll just pull it from this general trend line. Look at what we're looking at. Oh my God. Yeah, the release point at about 39 cents. It lost. It tried to fight at the 786. It tried to fight. It absolutely did. Lost that. I think this trend line that you brought up here. I mean, it's almost like if I'm looking at this, I'm willing to take a super high risk, high reward play on it with 0.5% of my portfolio. Looking at this, right? Because like it can absolutely cascade down. Sure, you go from 95 to 35 cents or whatnot. It's a very fast chain, and it has seen moments, kind of seasons of interest in it for sure. It ran up to about $5.3 from the release level at 30 cents. And this is something I was in on the test net for, right? So I've been on this since even before it came out. Looking at this, like just dipping my toe in the water, but I really want to see Bitcoin start to round out, defend itself off of the guts of this range that we're now flirting with and basically in right now. And Bitcoin fresh daily. I mean, it's Thursday, the weekend. This is a question for you, DZ. So we have the weekend coming up, and usually we see weekend traders kind of counter what's been going on Wall Street.
Is that the case? I don't know.
That's what I've felt like I've seen. I wonder, do you think we pump or dump this weekend? Does the dump continue this weekend?
It is all hinging on what is going to happen in Oman. Now, I got to be careful with what I say because, we might flag a couple words, but Arab state leaders are meeting in Oman for the Iranian U.S. peace talks. This is going to be discordant slightly. Iranian officials are not going to be talking to U.S. officials. They're going to be in Oman. They're actually going to be separated by 2 different rooms. They're going to have a delegation that's going to talk to the American envoy. and then talking to the Iranian envoy. So no direct communications. If that goes well, I would expect the markets to do well as well. If it goes poorly, the markets are going to sniff that out and the markets are going to dump.
Yeah.
So it's all
thinking
boiling
dump.
down to Iran and what happens in Oman.
Yeah, we're not out of the woodwork when it comes to that at all. So I got to keep that in mind. What I really want to see to like give me like, all right, we're ready to bounce. It's something like, a range. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but just a slight rounding out. And once I see higher lows being developed in this range, then my risk on appetite for altcoins will really be back on the table. But it's probably going to take a few months. And I think the money flow, this is the biggest thing that's telling me that we got some time of pain, some time to experience and enjoy the pain, is we are just barely starting to see the money flow move into the red on the weekly, right? Like this has barely started. So I just keep that in mind. And I understand, like we can understand the best things in terms of revenue and metrics and what looks the longest term. But like for that kind of information, you definitely should use things like DeFi Llama. And some of the data on DeFi Llama is playing into why altcoins that I like still, like Morpho, I absolutely love what Morpho's been doing. You can go to DeFi Llama, you can go look at Morpho. You can see the TVL is still strong, but it is losing ground along with Aave in the lending market, right? So this is something, I wish this would come up a little bit quicker here, but use DeFi Llama for a lot of the revenue, a lot of the total value locked information for any different project that you have in mind here. So just be careful out there when you're looking at these.
All right. All right. Well, Drew, any more altcoins you wanted to run through?
I mean, it's a sad story, but I kind of want to look at what Near is at right now.
God. I gave up on that one a while ago.
Me too, but it seems like people haven't, right? So, $1. Oh my God. Okay. So Near is at $1 per token, and the RSI, let's go to the weekly on this. Holy cow. Because remember, Near was part of the Zcash transaction and it didn't experience any of the upside to the token price.
It's short-term pump, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mostly no.
Yeah, I mean, it had like slight defense when Zcash started going nuts and Near was involved with some of the transactions on that. But I mean, you are literally at dang near the price of release on Near. So it's a do or die moment for a lot of altcoins.
Someone else threw an ICP. ICP, fresh lows. It is lows than it's ever been, except for the October 10th flash crash. So that's your next level to look at for ICP. And if you want to exit this damn thing, look at that trend line. And hell, you get within a stone's throw of the yellow line, you just paper hand that thing, get out of there.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy looking at this. So yeah, just exercise some caution. Like it's fine to continue learning about new upcoming projects, or I did take some profits off the table on Canton as well yesterday. I did. Oh my God, it's pulling back. Okay. I was
coming down to previous support.
Right.
This might be the area it bounces.
Yeah, I left about 30% of the bag on the table. I took 70% off, and now I got house money still sitting around on it.
I see a parallel range, I think.
Very interesting project. Actually, we have an interview coming up with the founder next week. I'm setting it up for us, DZ. So we'll have one of the co-founders of Canton Network on. It's been kind of awe-inspiring seeing Canton be able to even pull up any sort of new highs in this current environment. Same thing, Flowers for Hyperliquid on that performance, even in this major pullback. This is the time where you really need to evaluate, I think something I didn't get a chance to talk about today is altcoin VC capital raises have been on a bear market trend for years now. And a lot of that air in the room, DZ was very insightful on this when I was bringing this metric up, probably went to AI, right? It probably
just to kind of explain my thought, there's speculative nature in investments, and people want to speculate on a 10x moonshot. They're not going to put their whole bag, but people are going to speculate on 10x moonshots. All of that capital that's speculating on the 10x, they're speculating on AI. They're speculating on precious metals, and so there's no capital for altcoins at the moment, folks. But
Absolutely.
that's just kind of where we're at, folks. Canton, 13 cents. Load up on that thing. It's going to be testing the bottom of this range. I don't know if it goes to that, but that to me is a very, very good area for stacking. And make sure you go ahead and stack the like buttons, everybody. Smash that like buttons. Me and Drew came. We went a little long, so we do appreciate if you want to show us a little bit of love, help us out with the metrics there, help us out with the algorithm with YouTube. I'm going to be working on a video basically saying we lost this level. What's the next level for Bitcoin? I'm going to back it up with facts. I'm going to back it up with figures, and it might be a little bit more bearish than a lot of people want, but we've been calling for lower lows. We flipped bearish, a few weeks ago, and the markets have been basically following our direction. So I'm going to lay down where I think Bitcoin is going to be going next. Drew, any parting thoughts?
Just stack sats. Okay. I know that things are crazy right now. There's plenty of opportunity left. Don't get too emotional. Find your inner peace during this chaos and embrace the suck. I've done this a few cycles, and when you're buying at the lows, people will make fun of you. It's fine. And then they come and ask you how you got so lucky a few years later. It's a rinse and repeat process. Just stay focused, folks. Absolutely.
That's all we got, folks. I think Drew, he ends it with that one. Stack sats. Smash that like button. We'll see you folks in the future.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.